Hello. This is officially season 2, episode 2. First one was trial. Technically, you're my first official guest on season 2. So, introduce yourself, please.
Jamie Champion,
Owner of
Prospect Fighting Championships.
probably one of the biggest, if not biggest, in Ontario right now,
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, maybe.
and growing.
And growing, always growing, always
Huge.
growing.
That's just as sport is, right?
Always growing.
So, me and you met about, I'd say, a year ago, close to a year ago,
Yeah, about a year ago.
at what was known as Gold's Gym. It is now Wellington Fitness.
Yep.
Or was it World's Gym at the time?
It was World's Gym at the
World's
time, and
Gym.
then it changed to Wellington Fitness.
And we met. I'd heard about you through a friend of mine, mutual friend Brandon Collins, who got into
Great
MMA.
dude.
Great. He's a
Great
comic
dude.
book
Yeah.
character.
Oh yeah, Superman.
Yeah, that's what he is, man. He's one of those guys
Clark
that like.
Kent is your.
I would tell people about him that he's getting into MMA, and they'd be like, "Yeah, makes sense. He's a freak.
Yeah.
He's an athletic freak.
Oh, absolutely.
He's-
He's strong as a bull.
He's been like that since grade 8, man.
Yeah.
And his
Awesome.
brother too. Same thing. His
Yeah.
older brother Chase. They're both freaks.
Something they're feeding them.
Yeah, I don't. The sisters, they're all athletes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know his mom?
Yep,
She's
Bonnie.
great. Yeah.
She's a sweetest
Like
lady.
genius.
Yes, she is. Very intelligent.
Actually, we owe a lot to her. The AMMAO, the Amateur Mixed Martial Arts,
Really?
which is the sanctioning body. She's actually helped us with the policies and bylaws for the provincial government
I did not know that.
for PSO status. Yeah.
Actually, that's a great way to get into that conversation. So a lot of people didn't know that MMA hasn't really been legal in Ontario for a long time. It recently it was legalized. In retrospect of how long the sport's been around for. What, it was in 2 years ago?
2010, I believe.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
That it was oh yeah, because
Yeah.
Toronto's. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, 2010 because they did the Toronto show. They did the Rogers Center. Wow,
Yeah.
brand stupid. Well, it was predominantly in Montreal.
Yeah.
Where it was, and then they do shows in the reserves locally because they couldn't.
Oh yeah, Oneida.
Still do that.
Iroquois, Yeah,
Yeah.
Walpole.
But then so what got you into starting this organization?
Well, this one was actually Woodrow James mentioned it to me one day. Hey man, when we have a relationship together. We did the provincial fighting championships, which is the pro. So I did 3 pro cards before
Yeah.
breaking and jumping into amateur. And Woody, we talk every day. We were shooting the breeze on fights. He said, "Hey, why don't we try doing amateur? What do you think?" And I was like, at first I was really hesitant. I wasn't really sure there was a market for it. I didn't understand all the,
Legalities.
just that kind of not so much legalities, but just everything in general.
Oh, like,
There
yeah,
was
just-
like, how does this work? How do we get sanctioned? How do we do this? Insurance, this, and just started kind of snowballing. And coming from pro, I already had high standards as of what you should be doing.
So you started in pro before
Mhm.
amateur.
Yeah.
So doing pro, you would think that it would be much harder getting into the pro avenue of the sport. But was it more difficult getting into the amateur or the pro?
No, I thought the pro was very hard,
Yeah.
but the transition over to amateur, I just kept the pro mentality. So everything I did, I do everything by the book. Just follow the same principle and guidelines that you do when you were pro.
Yeah.
And then the amateur was easy.
After
It was like, oh wow, why wasn't I doing this like 10 years ago? Like I should almost did this before I did pro.
That's what someone would normally think you would do, is get into the amateur and then move your way to the pro. You did it backwards. What was the reason why you went from pro to amateur?
Because now there's a lot of problems with the pro athletes. Is there's a formula to success when it comes to
anything.
promoting, when it comes to fighting in general. The fighter's got a job to do and the promoter has a job to do. But if they do it together and they work together on it to make it could grow even better.
Yeah.
So when I grab them when they're amateur,
Very true.
right?
Yeah.
You can groom them. You can say, hey, no, this is kind of how it works. Get managers, do your marketing, do this. Like, this is how you do it. You can kind of groom them for long-term athlete development.
And what you see now is a lot of guys don't understand is that a lot of people are hearing about the athletes before they know their skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like people know about Conor McGregor, just as an example.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't know the years of growth physically and skill wise before they went into the promotion. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of athletes I find are focusing on the promotion rather than their actual skill set. and they're and
Because that's what gets them fights, and that's what gets them paid.
isn't that a weird balance though?
It is. It's. I mean, it's.
And it's changing over time.
Yeah.
Even the sport right now with WME buying the UFC, you're finding they just tonight, for example, UFC 208, they created an interim belt or a belt itself in the women's 145 division just to sell pay-per-views rather than actually having athletes earn it. And the merit is changing.
Because it's all about money.
I know. And
unfortunately,
it's a weird spot right now in the sport.
So I'm on a grassroots level. So
which you don't see anymore.
Me, I know it's because it's costly.
Yes.
You know, it's a niche market. You know, you and I can sit here and we can chat all day.
Yeah.
We can have the viewers and say, hey guys, you know
Who knows?
you're killing it. You know, thanks for the support. You know, obviously I love everybody that supports it, but we're a niche market.
You have a lot of support though, locally.
And
it's
huge.
Absolutely.
It's growing
huge.
Yeah. And I'm very thankful.
It's
and
good.
Grateful to that.
Well, you paid your dues.
Yeah.
It shows, right? And
I think I'll always forever pay my dues.
That's
I think
good.
if I keep that mentality of always pay your dues, and then, you know, it will be successful.
it's a great attitude to have, especially when you're starting off something that you're working with a lot of egos. I would like.
It
to
is a
think.
sport of ego,
right?
100%.
And you're working with a lot of egos, and it's such a primitive almost attitude where you're dealing with guys that their focus is to win at all costs, even if it's an argument.
Mm-hmm.
It seems sometimes, and I have a feeling, and I could be totally wrong, but some of the athletes in the sport, not just people we know, but in the sport, their ego is a lot of their downfall.
It's
in their
always
training.
It's always their downfall.
Yeah.
That's why you ever walk in, anytime you walk into an MMA gym or a dojo or a studio, what's the sign on the door usually say?
Leave your egos at the door.
Yeah. Leave your ego at the door.
And it's funny.
But it should be a sign that's on the outside of the door as well when you're leaving. Leave your ego at the door. Don't even carry ego with you ever.
That's how you. Well, that's how you become successful in anything almost.
I decided humble, right? That's
If
why.
yeah.
You have to be that way. Some guys get humbled.
Yeah.
Right? They
The
walk
wrong
in
way.
they get the wrong way, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden, bang, they got humbled. But watch how they are after.
If they even recover
If they grow
properly.
from it, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to grow from it. If you don't, then it really weeds out who's who.
That's
Ego
why-
is bad.
Yeah.
All kinds of ego is bad.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
different forms of it, and it's not a good thing to have, and it's something you'll always battle to turn it off.
That's why it was a battle. So MMA started off as, and this is how I viewed it, in my opinion. You have different types of athletes, and when I say that, you have an athlete, you have a fighter, and you have both. And I'm finding that used to be the sport of a fighter mentality, the Chuck Liddell era, fighters, but I wouldn't call Chuck Liddell and those guys really good athletes, per se. Willing to take shots and just brute force trauma. And then you had the era of the athlete, like GSP. May not now. You look at GSP, and I don't see him as a fighter. Do you know what I mean? As a fighter, isn't someone that's aggressive, that has a mentality of go for the kill. And I feel like now you have the hybrid, is that you have the athletes who are fighters, the mixture.
The newer generations,
Like
the
Cody
guys,
Garbrandt.
the guys that are coming up
Yeah,
now,
like Conor McGregor.
Oh, totally.
Athletes who are fucking killers.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm finding. Like, who else? Tyron Woodley. Is there any more athletic human being in that sport?
No.
Guy who could, Robbie Lawler in first round KO.
Yeah.
Did not expect that. So that's what I'm finding. But you're also finding the more intelligent fighters are rising to the top, which means that they're leaving their egos out of the gym. You can tell because they're growing so fast. It's just a fascinating time for the sport when we're having this mixture between ego, promotion, and the pinnacle of the athlete in the sport. You know what I mean? And we don't even know what it's going to be in the next 10 years. And that's where guys like you come in.
You know, it's forever evolving.
Yes. Always.
So the what worked 5 years ago may not work 5 years from now. Like everything is always going to change,
Yes.
no matter what.
What were your biggest struggles in the promotion side coming up?
Try not to spend a fortune and get into everybody, man. You know, it's so hard, like, because it's a niche market.
Yeah.
See, I have loyal supporters who they've always been there, but it's the ones that have never seen the sport or never seen it is the ones I want to tap into. You've never watched a really good event. Come check it out. You know, I want you to see it, but
That's a cool experience.
it's hard to do. Man.
I believe that.
It's,
Oh,
hard,
yeah.
it's hard to do, and without spending millions. Look at the UFC
Exactly.
does it because they spend millions of dollars.
I know, and millions upon millions. And I right now, I truly find they're advertising incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Ronda heavy promotion, and they didn't advertise Amanda Nunes, and that's what I mean. Like, how can you spend $4 billion on a sport and not have an idea of the odds and the promotion value?
Mm-hmm.
And in my opinion, I could be totally wrong. You're the promoter, so
Well,
you
they
obviously have a better
base
idea.
everything. Look at you watch wrestling growing up as a kid.
Oh, who didn't? Yeah,
Loved it.
yeah. But it's scripted. You know the
Absolutely.
outcome.
Oh yeah.
So you don't bet. Like what I'm saying, like you promote knowing the outcome. Here they promote not knowing the outcome, all on one side.
But why do we like it? Why do we love watching wrestling? What was it about it that
Promotion, all promotion.
it was
It's a build-up.
It was you look at you look at a wrestler, a fighter.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll just hold the two on two different
for sure. Yeah.
pedestals. You take one guy who goes, "Hey brother, eat you know,
Nah.
eat your vitamins. I want you to say
your prayers.
say your prayers and do everything good, brother, and be good to your fellow man. And I'm a real
Idols.
American." You know that just
Yeah.
he sold tickets.
Mhm.
Vince McMahon every Sunday night you watch him wrestling.
Monday
A,
Night Raw, buddy.
a stadium fully packed
Oh,
every
yeah.
time. Pay-per-view, people watching at home.
Religiously.
He's a billionaire.
Oh yeah,
He's a billionaire.
UFC's
Why?
because you're right.
Bellator's doing the same thing.
I love Bellator.
Right? Because they're bringing in fights that are people
Yep.
we're addicted to car crashes,
Freak shows.
freak shows.
And that's what I had an argument with a friend the other day, and I used to be pro MMA. I remember Strike Force or Elite XC. I was against them for some Gary Shaw, those guys. I didn't like them. But then when you look at the birth of their organization, they're treating their organization like the UFC did at their beginning. The Freak Show. Gain the viewers and then turn it into a viewership and a followership, which is hard to do. But I'm starting to enjoy Bellator more now. I like the competitive edge that they're bringing to the sport. Roy McDonald and Paul Daly was just announced.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Holy fuck. That fight alone is going to be fucking bananas.
Yeah.
I have no idea who's going to win that. No idea.
Yeah,
By the way, you'll get used to me.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm jump area to area to area because that's who I am.
Don't do it. No, it's
80
okay.
H
It's
fucking
good.
D, man.
I love it. Yeah, no,
That's how this split thing works. So
with fighters pay.
interesting.
These guys gotta pay. They gotta pay these guys money.
I know.
They're putting their asses on the line. I mean, it's harder on a smaller level to pay guys like on a pro show doing
Yeah.
grassroots, paying big money because you're not selling 10,000 seats at Budweiser Gardens.
I know. Yeah.
You can sell 3,000 seats.
Yeah.
So if you had the revenue coming in, then it's easier to put out.
Yeah.
But the fighters got to work with you on it too, right?
They have to promote themselves.
They got to promote themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to promote the promotion.
sure.
Hey, this is what I'm doing. You know how many fighters you see go on a different promotion and shout out to UFC.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're
I'm
right.
just waiting for my contract. UFC. You totally just shit on the promotion that's been trying to build you up.
It's weird, and you get in that weird battle where you have smaller organizations that are almost geared towards allowing the fighters to go to the UFC, and they make their money off building fighters.
It's pretty, and there's I think that's fair too. But
You
I
have
mean,
to, yeah.
You know, at the same time, I think if I was Dana White, I mean, you're looking for people that are looking for loyalty.
Which you don't find when money comes along.
No way.
You know, and
No,
once there's money
no.
involved, there's always going to be
Loyalty's
something.
Loyalty's
Yeah.
out the door.
So that's a good.
Except for at a UFC level though, there's guys that would take a pay cut just to fight in the UFC, just for the
Yeah.
notoriety, just to be
I
upset
can't-
that they find the UFC.
I don't know how much I respect that, knowing what we. I used to respect that, and I still would. Who to say I wouldn't even do that? However, with the knowledge of trauma in the gym, outside the gym, things that I'm just finding myself more and more or less disagreeing with the way UFC treats fighters. The more the sport grows, like not having a fighters union. Fine, it's fine. You don't need a fighters union, but how can they not have healthcare? They're spending their lives and they're training their lives. You have to take care of your fighters. And I'm finding a lot of things out in the contracts I don't enjoy with fighter pay. And I was going to ask you, that's what I was going to get into, is do you agree with, on the professional level at the top of the game, UFC, right? Do you believe that the UFC truly compensates their fighters the way they should? Or do you think there's a favoritism and you know, there's a lot of...
I think it's who's selling you tickets, man. It's who's selling you the pay. Dana White has been notoriously. If he has someone that sells a lot of tickets, people have a big fan following for favoring that person. How did you think he felt when Ronda Rousey got knocked out?
Oh, he probably yeah.
And then now he's seeing her get gone again. Like that's a cash cow for him.
She's done. I think she's done.
No, she's a national
her camp is what brought her down.
Well, they picked him apart, right?
Yeah, but then I talk about GSP, paid his dues in the sport, and now he's not getting the respect that he deserves. Mm-hmm. Right? He had contracts previously signed before the new UFC signed.
Because the problem is, you and I can say, UFC did it again. The jerk offs. Why are they doing it? Why, they totally screwed that fighter over, and then they launch a fight the next week, and who's sitting in a pub drinking beer watching UFC? Same guys.
No, you're absolutely right.
Right.
I just have to bring
the fans don't support their guys enough to say, well, we're not going to watch you. If you're going to treat the fighters this way, then we're not going to support you.
Do you subscribe to Fight Pass?
No.
Never? You should get it.
I should get it.
It's fucking
my buddy
awesome.
tells me all the time.
It's honest to God, I would pick Fight Pass over Netflix because I watch fights. See, people don't actually realize. Like I say, I'm a fight fan, and I fucking sound really stupid for saying that MMA was legalized in Ontario. I actually posted the day it was legalized. I posted on my Facebook. I just had a memory about that, but I don't know why. Just because of the camera, I said 2000. Anyway, I am a hardcore fight fan from the get go. I've been watching. I was lucky enough to watch UFC live. My dad had the Cheaters box. Remember the?
I remember watching. I remember.
I watched it live by chance. Yeah. And my dad remember the Best of the Best movie. Yeah. Best of the Best 2. And I goes, "This is a real Best of the Best." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Let's watch this." Mortal Kombat was out.
Taekwondo.
Yeah, that's dude spinning kicks all day in the living room. Yeah. All I wanted to do was be a ninja.
Yeah.
As a kid.
What's it? Sean Penn's brother was in that movie.
Chris Penn.
That's right. Yeah. He's dead now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He died in the movie too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Baracus broke his neck.
Right,
yeah.
That's right.
He broke his neck and they found him in the river or the pond. That was a good movie, man.
That's a great movie.
That's an underrated movie.
All those movies.
Best.
Oh yeah, man. I can recite the whole Kickboxer, Bloodsport. I'll sing the whole song. Right? Like.
Oh yeah. What's the song at the end? I'm thinking of Rocky 4 when they're Only Strong Survive or something. I forget. It reminded me. There's a song in the movie. I forget. I think it's Bloodsport or Kickboxer. I don't remember. But I hear that song in my head all once in a while, just replay in my head.
Yeah.
But that's actually a good topic. Is now that MMA is around and is popular, fight scenes in movies have to change.
Yeah, because
realism.
Hey, not that. I'm a kid. Not that tip tap shit. What I tell you, it's in the hips.
Yeah.
Power.
Steven Seagal can no longer have movies.
No,
you know what I mean?
Because people are exposed. A fight is a fight. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
that tip tap shit don't work.
No, man.
That you don't get a replay of 3 jumping spin kicks.
Nope.
That goes pop pop.
And no one's tired.
Yeah, ever.
No. Sweating. Yeah, cardio's never an issue. But that's why have you seen John Wick, the first one?
Yes.
It's actually pretty legit.
I actually just watched it.
The first one?
Yeah.
I watched the fight scenes. Legitimacy, like for what he does in the movie, that could be not obviously it's not likelihood, but the moves he does are actually legitimate fight moves. It's impressive. I like movies now that they incorporate real life technique that we have learned in the last 20 years that are like real. It's fascinating to me. Even wrestling. I don't understand. Like, and it's funny because I used to watch wrestling religiously as a kid, and I'll catch myself watching old tapes even now. But I can't believe that it still has the popularity it does when we know what really happens. It's fascinating
because it's a man's soap opera.
I know, but so is MMA now.
I like the fact that a guy turns and says, when guys chirp and they shit talk each other, I fucking love it.
I know, it's funny.
I absolutely love it. I think it's that it sells the fight.
It does.
It makes you either love the guy or you either hate him.
You tune in regardless.
Right. I either want to see him kick some ass or I want to see him get his ass kicked.
So who are your favorite fighters right now?
Amateur, pro.
Ooh,
I have a lot.
Good question.
There's a lot of amateurs that I look at now. I'm even like, holy shit! Like, I can't wait. I love watching this guy fight. I love just the personalities.
Okay, so excluding, I would love to talk about your promotion. I know some of your fighters do, but let's go on the pro level on UFC. Who are your favorite UFC fighters?
UFC pro.
If you had to name 3, not in order, just 3 fighters.
Just 3. Nick Diaz.
I love the Diaz brothers.
Yeah, the Diaz's, man, like just
they're real.
Yeah,
they're fucking real.
They don't give a fuck.
They don't give a fuck.
And that's what I love about them. They don't care. No matter, you can suspend them or whatever. They don't give a shit. They're the Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They are. Yeah, exactly.
UFC,
punch their boss in the face.
Right?
Yeah.
Punch your boss in the face, and the boss goes, I'll spank him. But he comes back, but they're real talent.
They are undeniably.
Absolutely. I called that McGregor fight loss.
Really?
Yeah, I called it.
I didn't think he was going to beat Nate Diaz the first time, but did say he was going to beat him the second time. Based off of how the first couple rounds went and his skill set and speed, I thought that if he had a game plan like he did in the first, incorporate leg kicks like he did, he was going to take it.
Yeah, totally.
But it was way closer than I thought it was the second fight. How about Jorge Masvidal?
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. That guy's gangster. Did you know that he was originally in the Kimbo Slice fight, street fights?
No.
Yeah. So
Really?
if you watch old Kimbo Slice
Yeah.
fights, before they had the little smaller fights, Jorge Masvidal was with that.
Really?
Oh, yeah, bro. Watch his street fights. He's been fighting since
Wow.
he's 17, street fights. He's fucking just like the Diaz brothers. He's gangster. That's fuck. He's so tricky, and he's so like, yeah, he's
I like
tricky.
it when they take those guys. You take the guy that's the street fighter. He's super tough, balls of steel, but you put him in a real environment of a gym.
Yeah.
And you put a gi on him, and
Panics.
he gets humbled.
Yes.
Right away.
Panics, yeah.
But because his mentality of I don't give a shit, I'm coming at you no matter what.
Yeah.
Those guys are scary.
Yeah.
Now you give them the skill set.
Game over.
It's even worse.
But it's funny to see when you get guys that are rolling and they think that, oh yeah, no matter what I won't tap, or you're never gonna. It's funny to see someone like a 135 pounder blue belt rolls with a 220 muscle head white belt and just watch him toy with him.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it fuck? It's
It's great.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great.
Sweeps, just the sweeps you see, and just the leg movements and flexibility just changes. You see the light in that guy's eyes, and that's where the ego comes in. You can't have an ego and be successful at jiu-jitsu. Because if you can't take getting your ass kicked on a daily basis by guys you think you can fuck up, you're not going to survive. You won't succeed. That's where it kills the
It's
ego.
basically survival.
Exactly. Every time you tap, you're admitting you're dead.
Yeah, every time.
Every time.
And it happens all the time. And they make you look silly. Have you ever rolled with anyone
Oh, yeah.
really good?
Really, a couple black belts.
Yeah.
I got fucked.
It kills you.
Oh,
it's like
it was like only a little
you
chimp.
feel like a little baby.
He was using his legs. A few guys use their feet and legs as arms.
Yeah.
The dexterity was retarded.
You
And
know
I'm
who Derek
gassed.
Kersey is?
Say it again?
Derek Kersey?
Not off the top of my head.
He does the jiu-jitsu at a platinum up at
Okay.
Wellington there.
Black belt?
No. He's
That's
not-
what's scary, too.
He's not even a black belt.
Oh.
So it was like an open mat. I went in one day. I was just like, I go there working out. I see him and he goes, yeah, come on the mats. We'll just mess around.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was wrestling. Not wrestling. I felt like I was rolling with an octopus.
A chimp.
Like literally, like it was like so. The movements of his leg was going across your chest. You know what's happening,
But there's nothing you can do.
and then you attack this. Well, I'm like, how do you have so many arms and limbs?
Baits. It's all baiting.
Like I'm holding this arm, and then now you have two more arms somewhere. Why? One's around my neck now. What? And you think you can muscle away? Mm-mm.
No.
You
There's
can't
no
do anything.
muscle.
It makes you feel like a baby.
Even if you do muscle out of one move, he's got 3 more ahead. And he's got steps to do so he can bait you into one thing to the next. It's so fascinating.
It's a marvelous sport.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's art to me.
Yeah.
It
It's
really is
intimidating.
art. Yes. It's humbling too.
Oh, yeah.
Your forearms are done. You're like, how? Okay. Well, I'm usually this strong, but I'm grabbing his gi and there's nothing I can do. I have nothing left in my arm, and he's just not even tired. Heart rate not even high. And you're fucked. It's funny. It's funny how people don't know the sport, and this is the best way to describe it as we're getting to this subject. I talk to people all the time. They don't know how good they are, and I say to people, "Can you skate?" And they're like, "Yeah." I said, "Do you think you can play in the NHL?" No. So do you throw a punch doesn't mean you can be a professional fucking fighter. It's that gap is the same. And people don't realize that how the skill set, because fighting isn't really hasn't been around that long. Like boxing has been.
Like even pro fighters let's say UFC for
Yeah.
example, it's a whole new level.
It's scary.
Like it's not like even the worst guy you would think that is there, apart from like the CM Punks or
He'd fuck me up. CM Punk would probably fuck me up.
no, I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't.
Man,
think
he's
so.
got the time
I
and
don't
money to
think
do it
so.
all day.
True, but I don't think so. Maybe on athleticism. Like,
Yeah.
He's got to be an athlete. He was in WWE. I mean,
Yeah, they're athletes.
They are athletes
Yeah,
for
oh, yeah.
sure. You know.
Can turn this light on. See how this works. That's good. Cool.
Bam. You know, maybe on athleticism, but skill set, no way, man.
Yeah.
Those guys that are making it to that level have been doing it for a very, very long time.
But here's one thing, Tool, he has that he has mental fortitude.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to sign up for that knowing you have a little skill set and to
Did you
put
see the
yourself-
right hand that he threw that fight though?
Yeah, well, it was almost like a bait for a takedown,
I don't
and he
know,
got
man.
fucking
I
screwed.
don't
It was
know.
terrible.
It was awful.
And you know what? You got to think of Duke Rufus. That them putting Rufus Sport putting their names on the line with that. That was a risk.
It's a big payout. It comes down to money, man.
There's a lot of things. There's so many topics I want to get into right now with gyms. like I was just talking about AKA, how many fucking fighters of theirs are injured all the time.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Like Cain Velasquez, every fighter of theirs right now is injured.
Yeah, it comes training, man. Train
It's
hard.
how you train.
Train hard.
Yeah, sometimes you can't because your body only has certain.
That's why steroids is an epidemic.
Well, the USADA is one of the best things to come out of that sport, come into that sport. Like and it's funny now that you're looking at that. You're looking at the fighters that have been around for a long time, and they're rising to the top while guys are falling, dropping. Michael Bisping is a fucking champion right now.
I can't even believe it.
But because
I can't even believe
he's not, you can tell he's a clean athlete.
Yeah.
He's a clean athlete, and I don't like him, but this is why this sport's beautiful. Is I don't like Michael Bisping, but he has fought his way into my respect. And how can you deny that? There's guys that I don't like, but I start to like them because they're fucking gangsters and they put their shit on the line. I hated the Diaz brothers at first for years. They fought their way in. Like, these guys are real. They're fucking fighters. And it's one of those sports that you can hate them as much as you want, but if they're real, they stick around.
Yeah.
And you can't hate them much more.
Longevity is key. Who's been around the longest now?
Bisping.
You know, these guys have long careers.
Yeah. Silva.
Yeah.
Do you think he's the best ever?
I love him.
Really?
Yeah.
This is a good debate. Man. This is a good debate that we get in. I don't think he's the best ever. I think he's one of the smartest. That doesn't make him the best ever. I'll tell you why.
Why?
If you look at his resume of fighters, a lot of them are fucking bums. A lot of them are
most
bums.
of them fight tomato cans, though.
GSP didn't.
No.
And
Welterweight's a whole new division.
But you have to compare it.
Yeah.
And he fought the best fighter at the time and dominated them. Now, mind you, it was boring, but he still dominated them and beat them in their own game. Anderson Silva fought a lot of fucking bums. A lot of bums. Travis Lutter, Stephan Bonner when he was 40 plus, Forrest Griffin who had 2 concussions in that camp, James Irving who was addicted to OxyContin during that fight. They built him because they had to compete against Fedor at the time to have a star. But I just didn't like. I don't think he's the best ever. I truly don't.
Who would you think the best?
Best ever of all time?
Yep.
There's guys up there not underrated, but Dan Henderson.
Oh, for sure. Hands down.
Motherfucker, he knocked out Fedor at heavyweight.
Yeah.
He knocked out Vanderlei twice when Vanderlei was on Mexican supplements, like walked around 220.
Yeah.
Just juice to the gills. He smashed out dude, he fought at every weight and he was successful. He just knocked out fucking Cuban. I can't think of his name. He was Hector Lombard with a back elbow at 46 years old. That's crazy, man.
He's got one of those dynamite in his hand.
Crazy, but he's just a tough SOB. So Dan Henderson. It's hard to talk about a lot of Pride guys. A lot of them fell from grace, especially because when they came over, there wasn't.
Mirko Cro Cop.
Broke my heart, man.
Yeah.
Stipe Miocic is coming up.
Oh, really?
Stipe Miocic is a bad motherfucker, man. They just made him and Dos Santos too, the rematch.
Nice.
They went for 5 rounds, close fight, and now they're doing the rematch. But Stipe is the heavyweight champion right now.
Yeah.
Who else? All time? That's a good question. GSP, obviously. And that's kind of biased, but it isn't.
Is that because of athleticism or because of his personality?
Best of all time? Record.
Like, you kind of have to have both. It's got to be personality and skill set. I think if you're going to call someone the greatest, you got to...
I just go by resume of who you've beat.
Yeah.
And he's only lost twice, and he's redeemed those losses. Like, it wasn't it wasn't a fluke. He beat the fuck out of Hughes Answer.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
Beat the fuck out of him. So he was always getting better. Now, he lost that Johnny Hendricks fight. But there's a guy, USADA, that we talked about. USADA comes in. Hendricks has lost, 4 of his last 5 fights and can't make weight because he's not in test anymore. Let's be honest. The guys that are dropping like flies because of USADA. Right?
I mean, it's a good thing.
It is. I like that.
You want clean athletes.
But I also like to see Freak Show.
Absolutely.
Like, who didn't want to see
That's
Vitor Belfort?
That's why we like watching the fights in Japan.
Yes.
Because you can have a 220-pound female
smash out a teacher.
Goliath, smash out an old wrestling lady who runs back and forth off of the ropes.
She looked. That was one of the saddest things I've ever seen in my entire
pretty
life.
Bad.
I can't believe they do that. Gabby Garcia versus a 60-year-old substitute teacher.
Well, she was a wrestler. She was a wrestler.
Oh, man. So was Iron Sheik. I wouldn't put her against fucking Gabby Garcia. Man, she outweighs me by 30 pounds of muscle, probably.
But my question is, why would you take that fight?
The payday? Like, she probably got paid $500,000. I would take that fight for $500,000.
Yeah, I'd fight an old teacher.
I'd fight Gabby Garcia for $500,000. Fuck it.
How do you think you'd do?
She'd fuck me up.
You think so?
Oh, yeah. She's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. and she's bigger than me.
Yeah, true enough. Yeah, she's bigger than.
She's
both
bigger
of
than
us.
me.
She's big.
She's 6'1", 220, and like lean muscle.
Cyborg.
Ooh, she scares me. I just read a report. For people that don't know, because if you're not an MMA fan, you wouldn't really follow this. But Cyborg got pissed hot again, but they're looking into it. And she might actually have a case. She might have a case because if she doesn't, her career's done.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
But I think Cyborg would fuck Ronda Rousey up like a prison fight.
Yeah, I think so too.
They kept Ronda. That's why I hate that. I hate that they kept Ronda away from
They
her.
avoided it.
But
Well,
then you can't do that.
No.
Because you gotta have the fuck. Listen, at the end of the day, if this is the apocalypse, the fucking strong survive. You can't protect people for money. Because I, as a fan, want to see the best fighter, not the best talker. I want to see who go in there and crush everybody. That's why I'm a fan of the sport. And they're ignoring the hardcore fans, like they said they never would, for all the fucking generic fans. What they said they never would do, and now they're doing it because they're turning into boxing. I feel. I fucking hate that.
Boxing. Honestly, I boxing was my favorite thing as a kid growing up. It's all I ever watched. Guys were talking football and talking hockey. I was
Same.
talking
MMA.
boxing.
I wasn't a big boxing fan, but I know boxers.
Yeah, and it crushed me. It was a Vander Holyfield versus Lennox Lewis, where they gave it to Holyfield, and he only won round 2 and 3 out of that whole fight, and right away I'll never watch it again.
Agreed. What do you think about Mayweather and this is a good one. This is a good topic to get into. Mayweather and Conor.
It's a waste.
It won't happen.
They'd be foolish to let it happen.
If the only way it will happen is if they co-promote.
And they did it so much. You think the Las Vegas State Athletic Commission is going to say, well, just because you're the champion,
They'll sanction it.
which is terrible.
But they'll sanction it.
wrong.
They'll sanction
That's
it.
wrong.
But it all here's
If
the
it's
thing.
boxing, he's dead.
He's dead. Well, I don't think he'll knock him out. Mayweather has knocked anybody out 10 years.
I'll bet you $100 right now
Yeah.
that Mayweather would knock him right out
cold?
within 5 rounds.
I'll bet that. I'll do 50. I'll do 100.
$100. I'll honestly make the
$100.
Has
to knock him out. If he doesn't knock him out,
no, he'll knock him out.
then I win.
Yeah.
It's not the way to
Yeah,
lose.
he's got to
knock him out.
He's got to knock him
Don't think
out.
he'll knock him out.
Yeah,
he's
put him
40.
right.
He hasn't fought in a couple years, and I don't think he'll knock Conor out. I think Conor has a chin. Now, if they put the MMA gloves, 4-ounce gloves, game over.
You know what I like to see?
Who?
I'm kind of all over the place.
It's okay. I like it. I can keep up.
Kickboxing with small gloves.
They've actually considered. So John Wayne Parr, Muay Thai legend. You obviously know. He actually just started his own promotion, which is kickboxing, Muay Thai with MMA gloves.
That's amazing.
It's fucking crazy shit. Dude.
Really?
Oh,
I have
dude.
to see it. I didn't know he did that. That's amazing.
Mayhem, man.
That
Glory. Fuck.
Glory's amazing. Bazooka Joe. Yeah.
Oh, he just was on the podcast. I don't really know him, but I just found out about him recently through Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Fucking guy, he's a killer.
Yeah.
Guy's a savage,
Left
man.
hook, leg kick.
I love that shit.
He's a machine.
I love kickboxing. I like Duke Rufus, but I like guys like Peter Arts or Rob Kamen.
Dwayne Ludwig.
He's fucking. I know insider, kind of not insider, but I know that he's from what I hear, he's a fucking mental case. That's why he's so good and obsessed. It's because he's a fucking mental case. But I love, who else do I like? Rob Kamen's a fucking savage. Henry Hoost. I love when you watch guys, and that's one of my favorite parts of the sport. You take wrestlers that are good strikers, and you see their fucking game elevate when they get a good coach, like Anthony Johnson. There's no one scarier than Anthony Johnson. When he fought Gustafsson, bro, you gotta think of this. And you would appreciate this, obviously. When he hit Gustafsson, he was chasing him down. He was throwing switch kicks on the fly against a guy who's 6'5".
Yeah, that's crazy.
Think about that. On the fly, switch kick, boom, in the head. While you're on the fly, fighting a 6'5" guy. That's when you get a guy like that can wrestle and can throw those. Holy fuck! I don't think the sport in my head will be complete if Anthony Johnson never holds a belt. He has to hold the belt, or nothing. It won't feel complete to me.
Yeah, I can see that. Some guys deserve it.
Oh yeah, he's one of those guys that's been around for so. Like, he made 170. How the fuck did he make 170? Have you ever seen him stand beside Andrei Arlovsky?
No.
He's bigger than Arlovsky.
Is he really?
Dude, I can show you a picture. I'll show you while we're doing this. He is actually bigger than Andrei Arlovsky. It's actually fucking scary. He fought Arlovsky. Broke his jaw in the first round. For World Series of Fighting. You remember that?
Oh, that's right.
He
That's
knocked
right.
Arlovsky basically out.
Yeah.
Johnson, watch this. Sorry, everybody. Johnson and Arlovsky. Watch this. Standing beside each other, it's fucking bananas. Ugh!
Wow.
And he fought at 170.
That's
Isn't that
crazy.
fucking crazy? People don't know. Look it up. Look up Anthony Johnson beside Andrei Arlovsky. It's staggering how similar they are in size, and they fight. At one point, Arlovsky always fought heavyweight, and he fought at 170. Like, I stood beside John Jones when he was in London.
Mm.
I walk around right now at 225, 230. And I'm not a fat guy. I'm not shredded, but I'm not fat. And I stood beside John Jones, and he towered over me, and his head was bigger than my head, like, immensely. And I looked at him, I said, how the fuck do you ever weigh 205? How the fuck would I have to fight you? And I wouldn't fight him. I'd fight a heavyweight.
Mm-hmm.
I look at heavyweights now, man. How the fuck would I ever fight a heavyweight? It's mind-boggling. When you look at a guy, like, I can't. If you look at John Jones and him against Cain Velasquez, they're the same size.
Mm-hmm.
But then John Jones makes it 205. How? I don't understand that.
Weight cut, man.
But I just can't believe the body can do that much weight cut and still. Like, if you did that to me and you said, Brandon, you have next week to cut, or 2 weeks, I'd get up on the fucking scale and I'd be like, just hold me here.
But they do that though.
I know, but it's fucking terrifying.
Actually, I've seen guys cut so much weight that when you're looking at them, their breath is stinking. Their mouths, their lips are all sucked in. Their lips are white and chapped. Their eyes are sunken in their head. And they're the most miserable, grumpiest people ever. Like,
how strict, like, how hard is it? Do you have any weight cutting issues yet? Have you had any issues?
So everything's changed now for us for amateurs. We moved it to same day weigh-ins.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So no IVs, though. You can't use IVs.
No.
The IVs are gone. Now, Nevada State Athletic Commission, how close does Ontario match with Nevada? Because Nevada's usually the
Ontario follows New Jersey.
Ooh, I didn't know that. It's interesting.
Yeah, they follow the New Jersey Athletic, which is one of the shittiest ones.
It is, actually, yeah.
They should have followed Las Vegas,
but it's, yeah.
Our commission is Hayashi's gone now. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's gone. He's retired, fully retired. No rumors. That's actually 100%. He's out. So everyone's kind of Ray Dempster is now the new commissioner for.
How's it looking with him?
Nobody knows. He's a policy guy. I spoke with him a few times just on a different matter.
That's interesting.
And he's actually he's by the book, strict, just a government, your typical government. This is how it is. This is how it's got to be. Follow policy. Follow the rules, which it should be. But
yes,
you need someone that
cares about
the sport.
Yeah,
which that was always the issue with our commission is they didn't want to see the sport grow. He could care less if it grew or not.
It's terrible. But
that's his. I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have a guy who came from an MMA background and said, yeah, this is great. Let's make this happen. But you also need someone that's going to lay down the law on people that want to cut corners, or
to make it safer.
Yeah, I mean, a rule is a rule.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. And you haven't had any issues. You obviously you've obviously had issues, but
it's not that I've never had issues with.
No, not Hayashi. I mean, like, as in growing to what you have. Obviously, there's been growing pains, right?
Every show's never the same.
You have a show coming out
March 18th.
Yeah. Main event?
Sold out.
Sold out already,
Sold out.
That's fucking crazy. So that was the fastest sold you've had?
Yeah. They were over, not even a month in yet. Like, it was a month till the event, and it's sold out.
So
that has never, ever happened to me.
Well,
it is like one of the first shows of the year, and there's really nothing else going on either.
So how many events are you looking to hold a year?
I'd like to do 4.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think
quarterly?
4. Yeah, because you want to keep everybody active.
Keep moving the mouse of the thing. Mm-hmm. That's good, man. And that's, so then the main event?
Jeff Fuchs versus Lawrence Bonds. Super heavyweight.
Super heavyweight. You don't see that anymore.
It's a rematch.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. You didn't see them fight last time.
No.
Fuchs was a great fight. Lawrence is one of those guys, he's like, can't take a beating. And take a beating. And take a beating. And then he just takes the beating until you tuck yourself out.
The Homer Simpson approach.
Absolutely. I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to be offensive.
No, I'm not being offensive. It's just funny, yeah.
Right, I'm not calling him a Homer Simpson, but that's exactly in my head. That's a Homer Simpson. You just come in, you just took a beating, you're not even hurt, and then you just boop. And basically, that's pretty much what happened. He's a 300-pound.
That's terrifying.
Guy from Port Huron.
That's terrifying.
And he's not sloppy 300 pounds. The dude's shoulders and back are
300 pounds.
When you look at him, he's a solid dude. He's only 24 years old.
Oh,
Young.
so but here's a question for you: with these athletes that are in a super heavyweight division, if they ever decide, because normally you're gonna have an athlete that wants to go to the big leagues, the very big leagues, obviously, right? So there's no super heavyweight division. So you actually have the ability to gain a lot of super heavyweights.
Well, I'm actually getting a lot of messages now from super heavyweights.
Yeah, that's exactly what I figured.
Right.
Yeah,
It's hard to find guys that are over 265 pounds that are actively training
in general, let alone
in general.
Yeah.
Right. So, but when you do find them,
We have something here.
you got something, man. You got the guy he's over 265. Anybody that's 265 pounds lands their hand on you, and usually their hands are a lot bigger than your head.
Oh yes.
You're going to sleep.
Lunchboxes.
So, with that super heavyweight fight, 300. Fuchs lost the fight, but
Decision?
because Lawrence had fallen on him. They tied up in the clinch, up against the cage, and basically they both fell to the ground.
Yeah.
And Lawrence fell on top of him.
Yeah.
He's a 300-pound man.
Dude, that the G forces alone.
Fuchs even said to me, he goes, once he hit me, once he fell on top, everything just came out of me. All my breath,
nothing you can
there
do.
was
Oof.
nothing left. And Lawrence told me, if it had been the opposite way, if Fuchs had came on top, he was done.
That's crazy,
Right, so that's right. You guys gotta fight.
You gotta fight again.
You gotta fight again
You
because
don't
because
tie up.
he took a beating. Lawrence took a beating, and he was no slouch. He came back. It was just a matter of conditioning. You know, when you're at that, but
It's hard to
they
get
went.
conditioned.
They went 2 rounds.
That's hard. People don't understand. People don't. You wrestle
Nobody
with your friend for
understands.
10 seconds, 20 seconds, and you're dead. Let alone adrenaline, technique,
Yeah.
game plan. People don't understand how tired you get. It's fascinating that when you get into deep water and you want to die. Cardio,
everything
breaks.
everything.
It makes the men.
It's
It makes
everything.
men. So go back to your event, because now there's the opportunity to tell people that
You
really,
catch it live on pay-per-view,
which is a huge step.
which is a big thing.
That's
for
a
me.
cool thing. Yeah.
That's a very big learning curve.
How hard was that to do?
I just do it. I do it myself.
No, but how hard was it to develop that relationship with pay-per-view?
Well, the pay-per-view is done on through a company in the States called The Cast,
Okay.
but I have to do all the production. I hire a team that do that.
This is huge, man.
Right.
Like,
So
people get to see the behind the scenes that you do.
and it's a lot of work because it's never perfect.
You ever thought about documenting the behind the scenes?
I just don't have the time to do it.
Okay.
But if somebody were like, "Hey, man, I want to document
Maybe I'll
from the moment,"
look at
that's a great thing because that stuff like that is people don't see.
I got a couple guys that might be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I'm 100% in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that I just talked to earlier that he'd probably be interested in doing that, and I get you to wear a GoPro, shaking hands with everybody, talking to the athletes.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah. So
I
it just
actually
shows
like
you
it.
and you're face to face, talking to
Yeah.
athletes and talking to
Because I
everybody.
basically go from room to
Shows you
room
to
to
see
fight to fight to
going,
fight.
yeah.
to fight.
See how busy you
My
are.
feet.
Don't
By
stop.
They
I know.
The end of the night,
Yeah.
I just want to get off my feet.
So what we'll track your steps and
That's
watch
a great idea.
your GoPro.
That's a
and see
great
how much
idea.
physical
Just curious,
effort
yeah.
you do. It's cool.
Because you know what? I'm sore. The next day I
Yeah.
wake up and I'm sore. I'm like, why am I sore?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. We'll do that, and
Yeah.
what we'll do is, if we can, everyone we're saying right now, is we'll do behind the scenes of maybe that short, if not that one, the next one, and we'll show the work it takes just to be a part of the event that you have to run, the changes you have to make, while pay-per-view, lights, camera, action. Let's see what it takes.
Yeah.
Do your own little fucking
Because
mini show.
you're in the booth. And you're like, I need more lights. I need the white balance. The white needs to be balanced.
Yeah,
I need this. You
Yeah.
know, when you go through the camera 1 to camera 2, try to keep no shaking.
yeah,
You
no
know,
shaking.
keep it- Don't if they're on the floor, don't pan out or in. Just keep the camera still. Just let them do the work, not the camera do the work.
Now for commentary, Hordecki was on there one last time.
Hordecki was the last one.
Who are you having this time?
I've been calling him Hominick. I've been calling him.
Yeah?
I've been calling him.
I don't want to put you on the spot here.
No,
It's
that's okay. I've
these
been
are my
trying.
questions I have to ask.
Mark.
Please
call me back.
Call this man back.
Call me back.
He's one of my favorite fighters of all time too.
Actually, you know what? Me too.
He is fucking
100%.
out. His ground game was so underrated. His sweeps, I love it, dude. When he fought Eddie Joubin, he fought him in WEC. I think it was Eddie Joubin. I may be wrong, but his sweep at the end that he swept. I asked Mark one time when he was at my work. He says I don't even remember sweeping him. He swept him from the guard and finished on top TKO. He goes, I don't remember sweeping him. I just did it just instinctively.
Wow.
To sweep someone instinctively is bananas.
Yeah.
People don't understand. That's fucking bananas to do. That's crazy. So yeah, like I said. So who else? You want to get Hominick? You have to have someone else.
Well, I had Sam Stout, the first one.
Sam's
Did a great job.
knowledgeable, very knowledgeable.
Chris did the second one,
Yep.
and I'm trying to chase down Hominick to do the third one.
Okay.
And then I'll kind of go through all the roster of all their my adrenaline.
That's cool.
Buddies. I want to see
Legends.
because I want to bring. They're all legends. All of them.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Clements, bring in Ronson, bring in all these different guys that'll actually hit the mic and just because they can call it the way they see it.
And you don't have to.
They
have
know
a
the
pers-
sport.
Yeah, and they don't have to have someone that's done it before.
No, and Reed Duffy, he's my color comedy. He brings it out of you.
And that's what you need. That's what you need. Someone like that.
He compliments it. He just, he's one of those guys when you talk to him, he always sounds like an announcer.
Like me. No, I was totally kidding.
And he's like, "Hey, Jamie, nice to meet you. It's a great day, sunny outside. This is incredible. How's I'm getting married in August. Are you coming?"
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm coming. He's, that's great news.
That's
You
cool.
almost think he has like an applause machine behind him because he's so robotic. It's great.
Those are the perfect.
He's
voices,
amazing. Yeah.
And people don't appreciate that. Speaking of that, Mike Goldberg,
Mm-hmm.
rumor has he just signed a Bellator.
I believe it.
I hope he does.
I believe it.
I hope he
Yeah.
fucking does, man.
Yeah.
Because that guy is people always chirp him and give him a hard time when Mike Goldberg fails, but he was good at what he does.
Sure, he was.
And they heard they're mixing a team together on the UFC, WME, but Rogan I think is the best,
Because he knows the sport.
and he cares about the sport.
Yeah, he knows the
But
sport.
Bas Rutten and Ronaldo were fucking unbelievable too.
Yeah.
Pride days?
Yeah.
The Pride
Boss
days?
is good.
Boss is El Guapo.
Yeah.
He's the reason why I love being bald.
Yeah.
Is Bas Rutten.
You ever do his workouts?
No, he has the O2 trainer.
They're just like video ones, like
No,
earpiece ones. And he's like, approach the bag.
approach the beg.
Yeah,
I love the way he
approach the
speaks.
beg.
Eh?
Yeah, it's that.
Bop.
Yeah. Bop the bag.
He's the best.
Bop. Liver, left hook, liver.
Have you seen his street fighting?
Yeah,
That's the
he's
funniest
amazing.
thing. He's so good, man. But honest to God, I think we've been talking for close to an hour. I think.
Man,
It's gotta be
you
close.
could easily do 2, 3, man.
This doesn't have to be our last one. We more
No,
likely to do is
have me back.
for sure. You are invited back.
love to come back.
What we'll do is we'll get this thing wrapped up, and then. But just anything you want to say coming up, please. This
Yes.
year, plug in.
Prospectfights.com. The name
Huge.
on March 18th.
I'll have a link below. For you.
Prospectfights.com.
I'll have a link below for you.
Watch the pay-per-view. $20.
That's nothing.
Cheap. Support your local fighters.
That's nothing.
It'll be a good show.
Yeah.
It's a great stacked card, and just check it out. I mean, you're not doing anything. Next time, get your tickets early because
It's
it's sold
in
out.
your own fucking city too.
It's right here.
It's down the street.
London Music Hall.
Yeah, and that's a good venue.
Yeah.
Hey, who knows? You might be at Budweiser Gardens
that
next.
venue. I've done Budweiser Gardens for pro.
I was at Music Hall today.
Yeah, it's a great venue.
Yeah, I was there today.
Yeah.
So, anyways, wrapping it up. Thanks for watching.
Thank
If you
you.
didn't, you missed out.